Welcome to the Jolly Roger. My name's Chef Brian. Today we're going to be making pasta from scratch. Actually, we're making tortellini. So, what we have here is just all-purpose flour. Typically, most chefs will use double O flour or double aught. It's just a finer grain. It's a little bit more expensive, but all-purpose flour works fine with this. And so we're going to make a deep well, and we're actually going to go pretty wide with this. And I have my eggs. I have 6 eggs here. I already scrambled them. It gives it a better blend to the pasta. I'm gonna go ahead and dump those in. And then we'll add our salt. And then we can start mixing. Just a good pinch of salt. That's good. And now I'm gonna take a fork. And since we have this volcano type shape, I'm just gonna pull in a little bit of flour at a time, get it thoroughly mixed with our egg. And this is going to continue to thicken, and then eventually we will be able to knead it by hand. But for now, and if you don't want to do it this way, you can absolutely do it in a bowl. It's a lot safer, because if you break this volcano, it's going to be a complete disaster, and hopefully I don't do that because we're on a YouTube video. So I'm going to play this fast forward overhead. So when we're kneading dough, I like to use my body weight, push forward, twist, pull back, and do that same motion over and over again. And this is all it is developing gluten, so it gives it a good stretch for our dough. And if it gets sticky on you, just take a little bit of flour, go over top of it just like that, and keep kneading until we get a smooth ball. And that's gonna be a couple of minutes. It's an arm workout, I can tell you that. Okay. All right, our pasta is kneaded. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna wrap this in cling wrap, and we're gonna let this sit for a good 20, 30 minutes. You can put it in the fridge if you want, but yeah, we need to let this rest, because if we go to roll it out, I'm not rolling by hand, I can tell you that. But when we go to roll it out, we need to let that gluten relax, because if we did it right now, it would just constantly come back on itself. So let me get this cleaned up, and I'll put this in cling wrap. I'll see you in just a second. So now that our pasta is resting, I did want to make a mention. You can over knead pasta, but if you're doing it by hand, your arm's gonna fall off before that happens. But you want to see when you push slightly down on the dough, it has a spring back, and that tells you that there's enough gluten that's been formed and it's done. So we wrapped it in cling wrap. What we're gonna do now is make our filling for our tortellinis. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the pan. All I'm going to do is maybe put a couple leaves of basil and some spinach. I'm gonna wilt them, and then we're going to put them in some cheesecloth. You can do this with a kitchen towel or anything else. I like cheesecloth, and we're gonna squeeze all that moisture out because we don't want a soggy filling. So I'm gonna bring you back when this heats up, and I'll get some basil leaves to go with the spinach. My pan is hot, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add just a touch of water, and this is just a couple tablespoons. It'll help these get a little bit wilted faster. And I'm gonna add a little salt that helps pull out the moisture. And we're just gonna toss these in this water until they become wilted. And that water is gonna steam, that's gonna help this process go a little bit faster. We don't need any oil for this, because we don't need oil in our filling. And then you can see we're already starting to get there. So as soon as this pulls out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this bowl to catch all of our liquid. So we're gonna put our cheesecloth down, and when we're ready, I'll pull them out. And then all we have left to do is wait on our pasta. We're gonna roll it out, and I'll show you the easiest way to do that. We're gonna use a KitchenAid attachment, and then we'll be able to cut and fill these things. All right, I removed our spinach and our basil. I'm gonna give that a little bit of time to cool down before we start ratcheting all that hot water out. And clean up just a hair and get the KitchenAid attachment out and all that good jazz. So, peace. I let it cool down a little bit. So we're gonna just render all this water out. And there's quite a bit of water in spinach. And then we're gonna give it a rough chop, and then I'll mix it with the ricotta. Yeah. But cheesecloth works perfect for this, but like I said, a tea towel, a kitchen towel, you can get away with just fine. So you don't have to go out and buy this. But we want every bit of water out of this as much as possibly can. And there we go. And then I had quite a bit of water. And we'll do a rough chop, throw it in the ricotta, and call it a day for the filling. We want little bitty cuts with this. And we'll go this way with it. I know y'all are probably like, that's the tiniest cutting board I've ever seen. But I don't want to mess up a big one, because then Len will have to wash it. And there we go. So we'll just go ahead and toss this in. Give it a mix. I'm gonna add just a touch of salt to this. We're gonna keep it really simple. And then I'm gonna mix this up. And that'll be our filling for our tortellini. And we're still waiting for the pasta to finish resting. And then I'll explain this attachment that I have on my KitchenAid. This is a pasta roller. It's automatic. They make hand crank ones that are a little bit different. But we have a dial here. We're gonna start on the thickest setting, and then we're gonna work our way down to almost the smallest setting. And I'll show you how that works in just a minute. All right, so I wanted to explain something. I think I made a little bit too much pasta. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some fettuccine and some spaghetti, and this is a pasta rack. So when we go ahead and make that, I can slide this on our little rack here and then set it out on the counter overnight, and that pasta will dry. We can put it in a Ziploc bag and use it at a later date. So for this kit, the pasta roller, and then it comes with two cutters. This is a fettuccine cutter. It's a little bit wider. And then it also has like an angel hair spaghetti cutter. So when we get to rolling our pasta out, I just want to make sure, if you do make too much pasta, you can always dry it out and use it at a later date. So keep that in mind. I mean, this part is a little bit more expensive, but this, I mean, it's just a piece of plastic. And honestly, if you wanted to hang a clothesline and hang up your pasta that way, you don't have to buy this. But I just wanted to bring that to you. So I'll pull out our pasta here in just a second and we can start rolling it. Now our pasta is rested. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out of our cling wrap, and I'm going to only take a little bit of it, and we're going to roll it out. So you wanna leave it covered, by the way. Actually, I don't wanna cut the cling wrap. You wanna leave it covered so it doesn't develop a crust, because if it does that, then you're gonna have to make pasta dough all over again, and nobody wants to do that. We definitely have gluten. It's stretchy. So leave it covered, and I'm gonna flatten this out a little bit, and then we're gonna put flour on it to make it not so sticky, because when we go through the roller with this, we don't want it getting stuck on the rollers. So we're gonna take a little flour. We're gonna do both sides. Just give it a good dusting. And then we're good to do our roller. Now you wanna start at the widest width, and that on this machine is number 8. The ones that are hand cranked, usually 1 is the thicker one. And so we're gonna start on 8 and just roll it through. We're gonna go slow. It's just gonna grab it, thin it out a little bit more. There we go. And we're gonna roll this through, and then we're gonna fold over our edges to get it more square, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. There we are. Right through like that. And see how we're pointed on the sides? We're just gonna flip that in, push down. I'm gonna do a little bit more flour. That covered. A little flour on this side. And then we're gonna roll down on 8 again. And you don't wanna jump numbers. You wanna stick to, I do probably the same number twice, and then I move on to the next one down. So we're gonna run through this one more time. I'm probably gonna do 2 more times since we did those folds. And then we'll move down the order of from 8 to 7 to 6, all that. And we'll get down to, I think I'll go to 2 or 3, and we'll see what the length is. And as it gets longer, it makes it a little bit more difficult because we're stretching it out. So you can cut it in half and make this just that much easier. So this is 7, then we'll go to 6. And if you ever feel your dough getting slightly sticky or anything, go ahead and add more flour. It's kind of just playing around with it. It's kind of what pasta dough is, really. It's just Play-Doh. It's just this Play-Doh you actually get to eat, unless you ate it as a kid. I mean, I'm not gonna say I did, but I kind of did.
I did.
Yeah, it's got a little salty flavor to it. So we're kind of, I'm gonna cut that guy off. Keep it a little bit more square. Go to 5. All right, so you see how long a piece we got, and it kind of becomes a hassle trying to get your hands to go through and catch it from, getting, falling apart. But what we're gonna do is, I got a ring mold, and we're gonna do circle tortellinis. There's 2 ways to do it. You can do circles or you can do squares. I think I like the circle look a little bit better. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start punching out our little dough circles and get as many as you can. And then the scraps, you can, make spaghetti out of it or something else. You just put it back into a ball and then re-roll it out and do it that way. So I'm gonna cut these out. We got our little circles cut out. I'm gonna show you a couple of them. And I already did a test that just to see how much stuffing I can get into these things. And it looks like we're gonna get a little bit more than that. And if you have piping bags, this would probably be the time to use piping bags, but I've already gone too far. Don't wanna go anywhere else. And a little bit more. Sweet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it in half, make sure our stuffing doesn't come out, and you're gonna wanna pinch really good on these seals, and you're gonna get all the air pockets out as well. Pinch really well so it sticks. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna cup it just like such. And then we're gonna pinch down those ends. And that is a little tortellini. So I'll show you that one more time. And then I'm gonna get another pair of hands to come help do all this. Pinch really well. And then we'll cup. Pinch the ends together, just like that. So there you have it. We got our tortellini done. The scraps, I went ahead and just cut up some fettuccine and we're gonna dry it out and use it later. It's enough for like a snack for like a 5-year-old. So, but I don't like throwing away stuff. So anyway, for your tortellini, you wanna let these sit out at room temperature for a good 20 to 30 minutes before you use them. If you want, once they dry to the touch, you can put them in a bag, throw them in your freezer. They're good for up to a month, or you can leave them in your refrigerator for up to 5 days. But come back Friday. We're gonna be cooking these things and I'd like to see you there. All right, take care.